And good afternoon and welcome inside DeSanto Field for a big early November matchup as Case Western Reserve University, 6-1 on the year, will be facing Washington and Jefferson, 19th in the country. They are 7-1 on the season. Two of the teams that are not at the top of the PAC currently. And we're joined by head coach Greg Debeljak to talk a little bit about today's game. Before we get into the Washington and Jefferson matchup, though, Coach, let's talk a little bit about last week. Obviously, a tough loss for the team, 17-14 to Westminster. First loss of the season. Take us through that game a little bit and what you were able to take from that game.
Yeah, not the outcome we were hoping for, but both teams really went after each other. It was two really good teams just going after each other. And, we just didn't play well enough to win. And hats off to Westminster. They did a great job. We certainly had our opportunities. Let's hope we can grow from it because we still have opportunities over this last third of the season to be very impactful at a national level. So we're looking forward to having those opportunities.
You know, Coach, in the past, something you have mentioned with this team in particular was their ability to show resiliency and wanting to see maybe a little bit more of that, and that's going to be put to the test again this week. Have you spoken with the team about resiliency, especially following that loss last week?
Yeah, I tell you, it was a tough one to get over. It stung. It hurt, and right after the game, I talked about, hey, as bad as this might feel now, we still have all our goals in front of them, and we are in control. If we win our next 3 games, we can be PAC champions. We compete in the national tournament. So those are all things that we should be focused on. But it is really hard to get over a loss like we suffered. But that's, we got to do it. We just got to move forward and just look to the next task.
As you enter this game against Washington and Jefferson, obviously there is a lot to deal with that team, especially on the defensive front. They really get after the quarterback. Lots of tackles for losses. They can come from you if you remember different directions. Take us through that team and Washington and Jefferson, what you expect to see from them, especially defensively where they're really locked in right now.
Yeah, defensively, it's an experienced bunch. They have a bunch of fifth years and seniors. I told the guys that you are not unfamiliar with the opponent that you're going to be lining up against. You've played against them for 3 or 4 years. So, what stands out is they have an exceptional D-line. Their defensive tackle, number 58, is a returning All-American. He was second team as a sophomore, first team as a junior, and he's having his best season. Their linebackers are very athletic and quick, and their defensive backs do a really nice job. But it doesn't get back to them very often. That's the thing that I've seen quite a bit. Their defensive line is definitely what makes their defense go. And offensively, they are wide open, spread, a lot of passing. Their quarterback is exceptional at creating things on the run. Yeah, there's a lot to defend on offense, no doubt about that.
Well, and you talk about defending on offense, and really it should be an interesting matchup because the strength of the defense this year has been the ability to rush the quarterback, has been the ability to defend in the secondary, and that's going to be put to the test this week. So can you talk a little bit about that group, how you plan to try to stop their pretty significant passing game this year?
Yeah, and it is all based on RPOs and run game for the most part. So yeah, Coach Miller and his staff have put together a plan to deal with that, and everybody has to do their job. It gets down to that. But yeah, it's unique passing. It's a pass offense, but it's all based upon off their running game RPOs. And again, the main guy that makes it go is the quarterback. He's just exceptional when things break down or he gets on the perimeter making things happen.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, too, that this week is going to be a big week for the team because you are bringing back the 40th anniversary team of the 1984 team, obviously the historic squad, first team to go undefeated in program history. Can you talk a little bit about what that team means and having them there, and then having them there to support the team in what is probably your biggest game to date this season?
Yeah, it's a team that I'm familiar with. My brother played on that team. I went to games, and I know those guys pretty well. So it'll be great to have them back and honor them. Really, after a decade, I think there were no winning seasons or maybe one winning season in the 70s. They went 0-9 in 81, and 3 years later, they're undefeated and nationally ranked. So it really put Case football on the map. looking forward to, they're all coming in Friday night for dinner. I'm going to stop by, and I look forward to honoring those guys. Well deserved. And they point to the biggest game of that year was W&J. That they point to that a lot as the best team they played and beat them. So yeah, good to have them here, and hopefully that'll bode well.
Well, certainly a little symmetry there, and it'll be fun to see how that plays out in just a few minutes. We're going to get going here in a little bit. Kickoff coming up from DeSanto Field. Case Western Reserve faces a huge test in number 19 Washington Jefferson. Kickoff coming up at 1 o'clock. We'll see you in a few here in DeSanto Field.